What's up, Everyday Blades? We got another Midgards-Messer in. I scored this from a member of the group. Made a good trade and was able to come out with it. This is the Midgards-Messer Viking V2, version 2. This is the Big Daddy. So I've already reviewed the Little Viking, and we'll break that out here in a minute on a comparison. But this is the granddaddy. This is the first knife I remember seeing from Midgards-Messer. So we'll remove this monster case and this sticker. And the very first knife we'll put up against it is the Little Viking, which there's nothing little about it. It's still a good size knife. So let me grab my size comparison knives over here and we'll give you an idea of how big this knife really is. There's the Griptilian, Spyderco PM2, and just for good measure we'll do the Civivi Elementum. I think everybody has at least one of those three knives or has had. So to give you a good idea, this is a big knife. Kind of, as far as size, I would probably relate it to the Praetorian tie. Not the Praetorian T, the tie, the big one with the big thick blade stock. This is 1/4 inch blade stock. Got a lock bar insert over travel stop. It has a lock bar lock that'll lock the lock bar down where it can't be undone. Really nice. This is just, to me, this is a beautiful knife. They did such a great job with this. Both of these. But here's something unusual about it. And I kind of feel differently than a lot of people do. A lot of people are good with the smaller knife has the thicker scales. See? This is the smaller knife and it's fatter. I wish that this knife had the thinner scales like this one. I think it would be a little more pocketable, but you know, you're not really talking much about pocketable when you're talking about Midgards-Messer, but I do carry these. I mean, I don't carry them every day for sure, but I think if it had the thinner scales, it would just feel a little bit better. But either way, it's still a great thing. It's a small thing to pick on, but that's, if I had to pick something out, that's what I would pick out because everything else is done so well. This one also has all the same features that this one has. So most people know Midgards-Messer, most of the time they make 200 knives of each knife. This version 2, they made 200 of the version 1, 200 of the version 2. The original one didn't have the anodization on there. I believe it didn't have the lock bar lock. So let's look at one more knife. So this is not Midgards' largest knife by a long shot. Right now, I believe this is their largest knife. Largest one that I've handled anyway, the Jotun. This thing is massive. I have a review on this one too in my Midgards playlist. But now, this month they're releasing the Fenris, and it is 25 inches long. It's over double the size of this knife. It's just going to be unbelievable. I can't wait till it comes in. It's going to be really cool. Let's check some measurements on this beast. Four and an eighth on the blade. 5.5. And probably a little more than 4 1/8 on the cutting edge because it swoops down here and then here. So it's got a longer cutting edge. You can choke up on the finger choil, give you a little more control. This knife, it doesn't feel completely unwieldy. It doesn't feel over the top. It feels like a big knife. This one, I'll admit, this is unwieldy. This is not something you would want to do any type of detailed task or work with. It's so thick and unwieldy, but it's just not made for that. It's just made to be cool. Let's check the weight on this one, see what's hitting at. I believe this one's under a pound and the other one is over a pound. I know it's crazy to be talking about a pound for a pocket knife. 12.1 ounces. I mean, it's definitely heavy, but it's not out of the range of something I would carry sporadically. Just a really cool knife. I love their anodization. They do a better job with their anodization than anybody else that I know of, in my opinion. I mean, some of it almost looks like a coating, a paint coating, because it's so thick and luxurious looking. I like the anodized pivots. I think that looks really sharp. Did a fantastic job. This one is 196 out of 200. So we'll put the on the outro, we'll put these two together. I just really think if they would, I can even see it here when they're laying here together. This one's so much fatter than this one. I think this would have been a much more carryable knife, which would have just added to its greatness if it had the same thickness scales. But this one is running on phosphorus bronze washers, I believe. Guys, thanks for watching. God bless you and your families. Say a prayer for our country. Good night.